I'm Fara Sax. Welcome today to the Community Voice. Joining me in the studio are members of the Aventura Marketing Council. We have PuroClean, Senior Proof, and Ellie's Army Foundation. What is all that mean? Who are these people? We're going to learn about them and their businesses and how they got started in the next 30 minutes together. Thank you for tuning in. Ricardo, tell us a little bit about your business and how this all began. Because you don't have a background in emergency
No.
disaster. You come very far away from
Yes,
Venezuela.
I come from Venezuela, South America. Basically, I'm a systems engineer. So I have a strong background in service and 724 service. So I know exactly what it means to have emergencies. I work for a retail bank with more than 2
That
million
seems
customers.
like it's really synergistic to what you're doing now.
Yes,
banking.
the service part, absolutely.
That's right.
Because when you are in IT in a bank, everything goes through you. So you have to have things working 24 hours a day to people to be able to get their money. So that's the part of service that I'm I'm an expert in that. And PuroClean is an emergency service company which deals with water disasters and mold and fire and smoke disasters. So basically, what we do is we help people, assist them when they have an emergency. And again, it's a 24/7 job with people in distress where they have an issue at their homes or at their commercial properties. So what we do is we help them overcome that and put everything back where it was before.
So your customer is a homeowner as well as a bigger corporation. I know David,
Right.
your partner, was supposed to be here, but he got called out on an emergency,
On
in,
emergency
a hotel for a flood.
That's right. That's right. An hotel had a flood on the 9th floor, and we got a call, and we had to run there. So that's why he's not here. So that's the kind of emergency that we deal on a daily basis.
So how did you get to PuroClean from what you were doing in banking to where you are now?
Well, basically, I was looking for when I came to Miami, I was looking for a service company, and as I mentioned, PuroClean is a franchise, and it's all about service, all about helping people, and it's it's a need that everybody at some point in time has when they get into emergency. So it's not economy driven, and we like to help people. That's our main thing. So
You were out in recently in Texas.
yes, we went to Texas to help people in Texas. Texas had a huge problem with the polar vortex. So the pipes, when the temperature started rising, all the pipes broke inside the houses. So they had a massive issue in houses and buildings and everywhere. So if you went in the streets, you couldn't see anything, but inside the houses, everything was they had more like 7,000 claims in.
So you were busy.
We were busy. Yes, we were busy. We were there for 3 weeks, helping a lot of people.
And you do a lot of pro bono work too.
Yes.
Outreach into the community. You want to share that a little bit?
Yeah. We work during COVID. We work with the North Miami Police. We work with the Key Biscayne Police. We work in some assisted living up north in Tamarack. Helping them and do like cleaning services, deep cleaning for COVID and disinfections. And yeah, we did some of that work during that time.
Thank you so much for giving to your community in an unselfish
Yeah,
way.
it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure for us, really.
Stacey Levy, tell me about the Ellie's Army Foundation.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
We've been together before. We know
Yes.
each other. I know all of you for quite some time, so it's really exciting to have you back and to hear what you're doing now, where you've been, what you need, and moving forward. Tell me a little story, the backstory of how this all began for you.
So it all began because my daughter Ellie was born with cystic fibrosis, which is a terminal illness that primarily affects the lungs. And when she was around 9 years old, we started to spend a lot of time in the hospital. And when we were there, we met a lot of families that were struggling not only with their child's health, but financially. And so we started a foundation back in 2001. And we were helping families with cystic fibrosis. But then Ellie passed away in 2014, and we decided to change the name to Ellie's Army Foundation to honor her memory and to keep her spirit in the foundation. And also, we expanded our mission statement to include children and young adults with all life-threatening illnesses. So it's not just cystic fibrosis anymore. And we help people financially primarily. We also give them resources and support. But we have, it's like PuroClean. I've had people that have had floods and mold, and, they're in an emergency situation and they're not able to afford to take care of it. And so we'll pay for that. We have a lot of people that are unable to pay their mortgages and their rent. And we've saved quite a lot of people from eviction, electric.
Because when parents are with their children that have terminal illnesses, it takes away from their livelihood. They spend all their time trying to find a cure and make it happen so that these children can go on to have a full life. So Ellie's Foundation comes in and assists.
Especially when children are hospitalized, their parents can't work. I've had people that just don't get paid for that time. And I've had people come to us that have lost their jobs because of it. And so they get behind on their basic living expenses. And if they're going to be given a choice to pay for their children's medication or, a car payment, they tend to pay for the child's medication because, you do whatever you can to keep a child healthy.
And on the outreach part of it, you need to raise money. So I know that you've done the Dirty Socks recently.
Yes, and we recently had
in Aventura, and it was quite a success.
It was a tremendous success. We did a lot better than we had anticipated.
And this was during a time when it was like we were still
right at the end of COVID.
Yes.
Right at when people started to go out. We had about 280 people in person, and we had another 250 virtual. So we raised a lot of money that's going to be able to help a lot of people.
And the Dirty Socks was the story behind it is just floored me. So can you share how that became the Dirty Socks event?
Yes, of course. So my daughter at the end of her life had 2 back-to-back double lung transplants, and she was really a fighter. And her doctor told her that he wanted her to walk. So he asked her to show him dirty socks because that would prove that she had been walking. And so we named the Dirty Socks event because, children wear socks, hospital socks, and when they're in the hospital, and, we walk for them on that day. And it's become quite a successful event. And the Aventura Marketing Council has been wonderful to us, has connected us with a lot of people. You were wonderful and helped get the word out. And so it's becoming, a regular Aventura event.
And it touched the doctor. I mean, sometimes the children will lead. And in this case, the child led the doctor, because where are those dirty socks to this day?
Yeah. Ellie had a very special relationship with her transplant surgeon, and he told her that he would keep her socks. She gave him her socks when they were dirty, and he said that he would keep them in his office for the rest of his life. And he's recently sent a picture of them hanging in his office. Yeah, so it's
what
nice.
A tribute! What a go-getter! She was such a vibrant person,
she was.
Singer, and her music, and
yes,
and thank you so much for being the leader and the founder to this wonderful and necessary organization. And she's with us.
She is, and she was very involved in the foundation when she was alive,
and she touched a lot of other children's lives in such an impactful way.
And she was a great fundraiser. She was a great.
You learned well from your child.
She was a great fundraiser. She had it all over me.
Thank you so much for sharing just a little piece, a snippet of what she was.
Thank you.
Thank you for the work that you do in the community.
Thank you.
Sydney Hughes, Senior Proof. I always love when we come together because it's always interesting how things evolve. You know, necessity is the mother of invention. I've really come to believe, and your story also touches, and the reason why you became so passionate about Senior Proof and making it part of your passion and your drive and the way you connect with the community. Share with us. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is great. I mean, just meeting people like Ellie's foundation. I mean, that is, and PuroClean. Just, I understand why we're all together. I mean, we are a resource, and that's what Senior Proof is. We are essentially a safety proofing company. So we go out and we'll make the appropriate home recommendations and then accommodations for the independent senior or anyone who really has suffered injury, right? Last week, we just did a wheelchair ramp in Davie. I mean, we specialize in grab bars, bed rails, walk-in showers. You know, back in the 80s, jacuzzi tubs were all the rave, I always like to say. And now my clients can't get into them.
What about the one that you open up the door, then they haven't, that's like the commercial that's kind of like old and like you can't even see the quality.
So those are
viable?
called bath fitters, and I don't sell those. And there's a reason why I don't promote them. It's because they are essentially the same price as our services. But what I'm going to provide is an aesthetically pleasing bathroom, right? It's very white and very sterile. And there's been known to be gaps in water. You know, obviously water filtrates through some of the doors.
So then that's when you would need PuroClean.
Yeah, that's true. But the goal is to provide safety. And a lot of these bath fitters don't provide the curbless showers, right? And a lot of my clients need a wheelchair accessible shower. And the only way to get that is through a zero entry threshold. So unfortunately, bath fitters can't provide that.
We're not going to promote that.
Yeah, we're promoting Senior Proof. But the reality is I get that question a lot, you know, and I'm glad you asked that. And unfortunately, a lot of my services aren't covered by insurance. They just aren't. So I started this company because 3 years ago, my dad had congestive heart failure. Then he had diabetes, and from all the medication he took, he ended up having renal failure towards the end as well. So all this bundled up together, me as a new mom, right? I have 2 small children. I had a business. Like it was just so hard for me as the caregiver to balance my life out, right? And there wasn't a resource like Senior Proof out there. And I saw the gap in the market, and I took it because I said, I don't want anyone, including my independent seniors or their adult children who were going crazy, right? During that, I was trying to balance my life and then also driving up to Orlando to help him. And then, I was still a comptroller. I've been in construction 15 years. So, you know, I was traveling everywhere, and my brain, the anxiety level that I was at was very high. And
when you're caring for a senior, it really, unless you've lived it, you really can't understand that stress, because it changes the dynamic of not only with that person that you're caring for, but for the whole family. That dynamic really shifts, and the attention really is to that senior unless you have other options.
Right. And you know, ultimately I like to consider myself a resource, right? And going on Google, the insurance companies definitely didn't help guide me through it. So I felt like the goal is to create a network of people that are familiar in home health care, Medicare, understanding the difference between Medicare and A and B. You know, so on my website there's a community guidance page, and that's where I put all that information, because I would have liked a Senior Proof 3 years ago when I needed it. So that's why everyone says I'm so passionate about it. And I know, and talking to Ellie's mom here, I understand the passion because I lived it. When you live it, and every client that we tend to is an extension of my father, and that's how I look at it. So we make sure we take care of we take care of everyone like as if it was him. So we serve all of South Florida. We're CAP certified also. So we're
What's that mean?
Certified Aging in Place Specialists. Mm-hmm. So the goal is to create a universal living environment for everyone. So if COVID has taught us anything, is to, you know, I'm sure the abuelas and the grandmas, everybody, you know, quarantined together, a lot of extended family quarantined together. So the goal is to create a universal space where somebody in a wheelchair or somebody that needs a walker could co-live with toddler and babies. So that's what CAP certification really entails.
So in Senior Proof, do you work with nursing home facilities? Do you work with private? Who's your customer?
Residential is right. I've gotten a call from Boca West right now recently, a couple of commercial.
So that's a
community, like a Century Village,
community.
I have clients. Yeah, I have clients that are in these high-rise condominiums. We've got 2 walk-in showers going on right now in Hollandale Beach. So we tend to everyone. Residential is really the primary goal right now because that's who really needs it. A lot of these assisted living facilities and nursing homes are already pre-built, right? They're staged for that type of living. So it's really keeping our seniors happy and safe at home. So a lot of the residences is what we deal with, independent single-family homes or condos. My dad was also very strong-willed, and I think that's why they gave him 6 months to live, and he outlived that. He lived 9 months out of that. So he was very stubborn. He wanted to stay at home. He was adamant about it, and I'm proud to say he never went to an assisted living facility. He never went to a nursing home. We brought caregivers in, and at that age, you want to be comfortable and safe in your environment. So
and you bring a lot of passion because you really understand your clients. You understand that dynamic in the family.
And their children that are calling me. The independent senior doesn't really call me very often.
Oh, no, they're in denial, right?
They're in denial,
No, that's not a
They're
problem.
all in denial. They'll be us too, though, that one day. Hopefully, they'll be us. And
if we're lucky, right?
Yeah, if we're lucky. So it's really their adult children that call, or, loved ones, aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters that call. And
Wonderful.
We're proud to be in the community.
So this posse is connected through the Aventura Marketing Council.
Yes.
Some have been with them a long time. Some are newer. And I just want to understand how the Aventura Marketing Council has helped your business, your service move forward in the community so that, we can talk about how that and that connection and how important that is. Who would like to start?
Well, we began our membership in 2001 when we started the Reach for the Stars Foundation, and right from the start, Elaine.
The Reach for the Stars was the original
name of the foundation that we started, and Elaine, right from the beginning, was just so helpful and always connected us with people, got the word out.
And even during this pandemic, when we were all sitting at home and we were Zooming, she kept it together. I mean, we were connected.
Yes.
The connectivity really, for me, it really helped me because I felt sometimes very isolated. So the chamber really made it a point to have webinars, to have networking opportunities where we can still connect. So when we finally got together, it was like, oh yeah, I know you. You were in that little square.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And, she always made sure that we had volunteers for our events. And I mean, to this day, we get that kind of help from her. And the whole community has really embraced us, and it is helping us to grow.
Absolutely. What's next for the Ellie's Army Foundation? What's coming up?
Well, we have a Giving Tuesday campaign, which is a universal day of giving and for all charities. And so we work very hard to raise money then. And we have Duncan Robinson, who is who's on the Miami Heat, and hopefully will be staying on the Miami Heat. He's a free agent. We're working with him to plan an event.
And he's just really passionate. He's super excited.
He's terrific.
And he just does anything you tell him to do.
He does. and he wants to do stuff with Ellie. Like when he was creating a team for the walkathon, I asked him what he wanted his team to be, and he said, I want to do it with Ellie. So it became the Duncan and Ellie's Dirty Socks crew.
Well, you bring the passion to it and you bring the light in your eyes. So how could he ever say no to you, right?
Yeah. No, it's great. And then, of course, we'll have the walkathon again. But we're constantly trying to connect with people, with corporations, and we try to find somebody that's going to be a fit for us so that we can have a relationship. It's not just about getting a check. it's about, finding out what the other person's passion is and helping them to feel like they're making a difference in their lives. So, that's
So it's a win-win.
so it's a win-win.
And it's a long relationship. You're looking for
Yes.
longevity. And
Yes.
if someone wanted to get involved or they would like more information, what's the website and the phone number that they would call?
The website is Ellie's Army, ELLIES, Army, ARMY.org, ORG. And the phone number is 305-756-0068. And they can call me, Stacey, anytime.
So you're accessible.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Ricardo, how did you get to the Aventura Marketing Council? Because I met you there.
That's one of the advantages.
Right.
We
were in
got
that,
connected there.
Yeah, you were in one of those
So,
little squares.
Yes,
And I was in the other little square.
So we started a relationship there, and I was lucky. My daughter auditioned for the Sing with the Stars event that Elaine has like every year.
And you're very low
10
key
years ago.
about it. What does she do, your daughter?
My daughter, well, she sings, she plays piano, and now she's studying college, physics or engineering. She doesn't know. She just finished her freshman year, so she's deciding.
And she can decide again.
But
and
again.
And again.
But that's the advantage of the American system. The school system is you can change and you have so many opportunities. But she was selected when I think she was in 10th or 11th grade. And she sang there, and that's how I met Elaine. And I said, for me, it was a door opener because being new in the States, I needed to understand how the system works and how you meet people and how you get relationships.
It's different than
totally different. No, it's a total different ballgame. So it's completely different. So I wasn't used to it. So Elaine opened the door to me, and she knows everybody, and she's very outgoing, and she gets you to know people and introduce you to people all the time. And so that's how I got there. After after that event, it was in December 2018 or 19, I simply became a member, and that's it.
And how has that changed? And how has that changed being part of the Aventura Marketing Council for you? How has business changed? Have you been able to reach out to those members, and they've been able to
basically, it's you get to know different people with the different activities she does. She has the speed beats, and she has the monthly events and different things. And there was an event I couldn't go to, a ribbon cutting in the Hilton 2 days ago with a lot of people. So it's you get to know people, and then when you go around, you see those people in different events in different places, and they get to know you, and your name starts being in top of mind. And that's the most important thing, because when in our business, when you have an emergency, your name has to be top of mind, because otherwise, they're going to call whoever comes first. So that being in the AMC and with Elaine, and it gives us that edge that we can be top of mind. Also, for example, the Texas, we wrote an article about the Texas, what we did in Texas, and she published it.
So you're on.
She sent it in Facebook, and she sent it to all the members, and so that's the kind of help that the AMC gives you. Not only the presence, but also, behind scenes, they send your publications, they put you on in front of everybody with different things.
And you have a couple of franchises. You have it in
yes.
Davie and in Aventura,
and we are opening now a third one in downtown Miami.
Brickell.
Well, we changed to downtown Miami because we're going Brickell, from Key Biscayne up to probably Wynwood. Mm-hmm. That's the area. So now we're covering the west north with the Davie office, Broward. Then we're covering the center with Aventura, and then we're covering also the south with.
You think this guy is so busy, but look how mellow he is and calm, and still waters run deep. But
you have to be, and I tell you what, our favorite word in this business is empathy, and you have to be calm, because you're going into a flood house, and a house that is flooded, and the first thing you have to is to put the owners, calm, explain to them, you have to gain their confidence so they can be,
what was the hardest? Tell me one story that was like probably the hardest to go into, that you were able to solve the problem with your services.
Well, one that was really, really difficult. There was a fire in a medical center in Hialeah. So we were called. It was like, I think it was a Friday night. So that was a very hard job. It was an emergency building, 11,000 square foot. That was completely, the fire completely destroyed the place. So we went there for 3 weeks, putting, everything, cleaning everything, all the soot, all the smoke and everything, and put it back in shape so they can rebuild the unit. That was one. The other one, that is my favorite story. We had a flood there was a flood in a school back in 2020, in my children's school, actually. So for a heavy rain, and the school, 5 buildings of the school were flooded, 50 classrooms.
Wow.
So we did that job, we put the school back up to work in 3 weeks. And one of the things that I did after we finished, I got all my crew. And when I saw the smile of the kids and the teachers coming back to the school, I got my crew and I said, you know what? You're going to see what we accomplished in these 3 weeks. And I went with them to every classroom. And I told them, look inside and you'll see a smile in the kids and in the teachers. And then you understand what we do.
And it was like that aha moment that you
Yes.
it reaffirmed everything.
Absolutely.
Everything that you meant, and then everything you represent.
Absolutely. And they were very happy. I thought it's not about what we earned in this job. It's look at the effort, look at the result. And I want you to memorize this moment for the rest of your lives, because it was really, you saw how we get in, and now you're seeing the result and how the children are back in the classrooms and having classes again. So that was, I think, for me, that's probably the most important moment in these 3 years we've been in this business.
And then you're moving forward. So it's really exciting to
Yes.
hear about your
We're
new
growing.
location coming
Yeah.
up. And if someone needed your services for any kind of emergency, for cleanups and others, where would
Yes.
they call?
They will call. The phone number is 305-907-7373.
Say that again, please.
305-907-7373.
And
the email, if they want to email,
or website either.
Website, it's PuroClean.com/PA-FL.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That. And Sydney, tell me about the Aventura Marketing Council, and how has that been for you and with senior proof, and where have you been able to pivot and connect, even in here? I mean, this has been so wonderful so far.
Yeah, this is great.
Get to know each other's businesses a little bit more.
No, for sure. But none of this would be, an option without Elaine Adler. We all know that, right? Elaine is the unofficial mayor of Aventura, like I like to call
She
it.
holds the key.
She really does hold the key. It's funny. She works behind the scenes for you without you even knowing, right? Like that's. I was sharing the story earlier with them. Is that 7 years ago I was doing business development in my late 20s for a restoration company. And I didn't know anything about business development, but being in construction, it was they're like, oh, you're bubbly. Go ahead, go to one of these breakfasts in Aventura. So I've said, okay, that's fine. I got some business cards printed out. I walked in and Elaine's sitting there, right? And she could just tell I was a deer in a headlight. I didn't know what I was doing. So she kind of guides me through it. We turn the corner and there's 300 people at this breakfast. I mean, it felt like 300 people. I'm not even sure if it was maybe 200. I don't know. It was one of those breakfasts at FIU she threw, and she still took her time out to go introduce me to a couple of people so I could feel, comfortable, and fast forward, 8 years, I start senior proof and that moment still resonated with me. And I had to call and become a member just because of Elaine. So, I wouldn't be here without her. As far as senior proof, obviously it's a return on involvement too, right? You have to be involved in these networking events and meeting these new people, but the quality of people that you meet through Aventura Marketing Council, the passion, the missions, there's you can't really compare it to anything. So,
well, I'm sold. You know what I mean.
I'm not selling it to you. It is reality. She's the best.
Anything else that you'd like to share about senior proof?
No, I mean, I was kind of thinking about what he was talking about as far as I started thinking about my guidance and help. One of the stories that impacted me in my story was it wasn't even a client of mine. Actually, it was a friend of mine that sent me a picture just recently, about 3 weeks ago, of a picture of her mom, her grandmother that fell off the bed, and she sent me a picture of the aftermath of that fall. And it looked like she boxed Mike Tyson. It really did. Like, she fell off in the corner of the armoire, and she just busted her face wide.
And it happens in a New York minute. It happens so quickly.
So it's funny because she obviously knew about Senior Proof, and she's somebody I knew back in my college days. And she reached out to me and she goes, "This is a picture of my grandmother. Is there any way that you can install the bed rails, as soon as possible?" And I pride myself on doing it within 24 hours. So if somebody falls within 24 hours, you would have bed rails installed in your home from a CAP certified technician. So, I've installed many bed rails, but a lot of the times I never really get to see the client because, they're either in the hospital or, wherever they're at. So getting it on my phone to see it was very impactful for me.
And that's really your aha moment also, of
Yeah,
just gratifying for what you do and how you can help keep people safe, elders safe.
Yes, and keeping everyone, that's safe at home and comfortable. That's the goal for us. And you could find us at www.seniorproofinc.com. And our phone number is 833-3SENIOR. And that translates to 833-373-6467.
I want to thank you all for coming and joining me today.
Thanks
Thanks for having us and inviting us.
You want to come next week? You can come next week and continue this. And I want to thank you all for joining us on the Community Voice. For Community Voice, I'm Fara Sax, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and see you next time. Thanks, guys, for coming.